welcome back to Yes and by Marin YouTube, posting videos every Tuesday to discuss authentic alignment. As a life coach and yoga instructor, one of my favorite parts of the job is discussing and brainstorming and exploring new perspectives with individuals. Why I find this so enjoyable and so impactful is because as humans, we are creatures of habit. One thing that I think is absolutely fascinating is that habits are actually formed in the basal ganglia. It's in a different part of the brain than our other thoughts and critical thinking skills and memory. In this book, The Power of Habit, right in the beginning, there's a story that caught my attention when I read the book years ago and has stayed with me to this day to represent how powerful habits are and how much they impact our lives, even when we may not be aware of their impact. So the story is one of a man named Eugene. He suffered a brain injury, and researchers and scientists were fascinated because although he lost a lot of memory, there were some behaviors that could not be explained. If you were to walk with Eugene, even if you're standing at the end of his own driveway and you ask him, "How do you get home?" he wouldn't know the answer. He couldn't consciously tell you, "My house is here." In fact, when they asked him to draw a map of his home, "Can you tell me where the kitchen is in relation to the bathroom, in relation to your bedroom?" he didn't know what to do. However, if you observed him day to day, he could easily move from his bedroom to his bathroom. He knew where to go around his house. Now, why am I sharing this story with you, and why has this story stuck with me on such a deep level throughout the years? It's because I've realized habits that I have and habits that my clients and my students all have are so innate and deep within us that we don't even know that they exist. It's hard for us to see that we are living one way and one way only. It's like a fish in water. We just see this one way of living, this one choice, this one route. We don't even know, it's not even in our awareness to think that there could be another way or that we might benefit from another way, more so than the habits and the way of life that we are currently experiencing. And sometimes it takes an external perspective, a new context, to see that there is more, that there are other possibilities and opportunities. This isn't to say that all of our habits and all of our ways of life are detrimental to our life. What I want to bring our awareness to is that there are other possibilities, and that's one of my favorite parts of coaching, is just to explore what else is possible, because with that information, with added data, we can then choose which is best for us, which might be what we've been doing all along. However, it might be something new that we didn't even consider before. So I'm not saying that we need to get rid of all our habits. Habits are really beneficial. However, there is power in knowing that there are also other options if we feel like something isn't serving us. Last week, I spent my time in Cleveland, Ohio at the American Evaluation Association, and this was a great opportunity for me to experience how I can sometimes myself get caught in this fish in water situation where I don't even realize that I am living out of alignment until I am provided the opportunity to explore or experience a new context, a new perspective, insight from someone else, or from even myself just changing my environment. I made a goal for myself before going to this conference that I wanted to stay true to myself. However, when I got there and I was placed into this context of everyone being very professional and very business-like, I put on my suit as well, literally and figuratively. At the end of each day, I really wanted to move. That's one of my favorite parts of the day. It's one of my mindfulness practices and meditation practices. And at the end of the days, I was too tired. On Thursday night in particular, I chose to stay in rather than go out for one more networking opportunity. I stayed in with my good friend, we watched a movie, and it was when I was given that opportunity to pause and to step out of the context that I had been so enveloped by for the past few days that I realized I had been sacrificing, it was only a few days, but I had been sacrificing my well-being and my preferred way of living life that I know is beneficial for me, for the sake that I fully enter this professional environment in a way that I thought was expected or I thought should be how I enter this environment. So on Friday, I made it a priority to get a workout in. So I went for a run along the lake. As I have experienced time and time again, and this is why I know it's so important for my well-being, everyone has their own way of accessing this, but I again found my true self, my center point, and I had so much clarity on this run. I felt better, I was more alive, I was more energized, And turns out Friday, I went to 2 of my favorite sessions in the entire week. I met someone who was also a coach and evaluator, and I also went to a dinner with a lot of my colleagues that was so beneficial, and it was energy in rather than energy out, which some of the other networking opportunities earlier in the week had been energy out rather than energy in. Those 2 days, Friday and Saturday, were the best days of my conference because I took time to say, what is best for me? How do I want to be in relationship with this conference and with this professional environment, rather than falling into a habit or a way of being that I thought should be how I am in this context. And on the flight home, I was so excited because I have all these ideas for how I want to relate to the AEA conference next year in a way that truly gives energy to both parties. It's best for me and it's what's best for them, which is a mantra I say time and time again. What is best for you is what's best for me. What is best for me is what's best for the world. In that example, what allowed me to shift perspective and to try on something new that was more aligned was movement. This is often something, at least these days, that allows me to find my true self, to get back to my core, is by running or is by getting out of my head for a little bit and feeling in my body what is best for me, allowing my body to give me some insight, some intuition that my mind is having trouble accessing alone. It looks different for everyone, so maybe it's a silent meditation for you. Maybe it is calling a good friend. Maybe it is asking a coach to provide some insight or some clarity that you can't see, a blind spot.Maybe it is brainstorming on a big whiteboard or in a PowerPoint or on a notepad to doodle. Maybe it is asking what else is true, what else is possible, coming up with a long list of crazy things, some maybe that you would never consider, but just write them down because they exist, because it is a new perspective you could adopt if you chose to. If you would like support in this process, of course you can reach out for me. I have found that life coaching, yoga instruction, and evaluation are all different ways that you can have the opportunity to explore, to try on new perspectives with added support, with an environment that allows you to feel safe, secure, and excited to do this. Happy exploring, and I will see you again next week Tuesday right here on Yes and by Marin.